Welcome back, students. A very good morning. In this video, I will be discussing about the molecular basis of inheritance. So, in genetics, we have done the basic part, that is principle of inheritance and variation, that we have done. So, molecular level, that is DNA, RNA, and how internally, in molecular level, how they help in the inheritance, that we will be seeing in this chapter. Okay, so I think most of you are following different textbooks. So based on what I am following, this is the chapter 6, molecular basis of inheritance. All right. So maximum I'll try to do according to the syllabus, but however, you cannot just exclude some of the topics, since that is important for you to study other topics also. Okay, so I will be dealing most of the parts in this chapter. Okay, so there were different experiments or different processes conducted to find out what is exactly the genetic material which helps in the inheritance. All right, so in this process, whether it is a protein, whether it is DNA, whether it is RNA, now we know that it is DNA, but to find out this, they had conducted several experiments. Okay, so what were the features? So they came to a conclusion with some of the features or characteristics that are shown by this genetic material. Okay, so what were these features? First we'll see, then we'll see the other experiments. Okay, so these features include, it is universal occurrence. That's one of the main feature, that is, it is present in all cells, all living cells, whether it is prokaryotes, whether eukaryotes, any kind of cell, it is present in any form. All right. Storage, it has the ability to store the heredity information. That is why it is able to carry it to the next generation, right? So storage property is there. Accurate replication, it has to replicate. So we know that cell divides or during growth, or even in prokaryotes during replication, the cell, when they divide to form two cells, so this genetic material should be able to replicate and move to into the different cell equally. The genetic material also should be replicated. Replica means duplicate, like we had studied in clone. Yes, replica itself is a term used for clone. Okay, so accurate replication should be possible. It should be able to replicate accurately to form an exact copy, so that it can be transferred to the daughter cells equally. Synthesis of proteins and enzymes. So this DNA only will carry the information for the protein synthesis also. Okay, we will study in this chapter itself that how it is done. Different the DNA is then again transcribed into mRNA, then mRNA helps in the protein synthesis. Okay, so that process we will be seeing. I'll also attach a few videos where you can see it at the animated form. Okay, so I want you to go through the entire video, all the videos of this chapter completely. Should not miss out, because I'll be adding some of the interesting videos that because since the class is also online and you're not able to understand, the blackboard interaction is not possible. So that is why I have thought of adding a few videos, so that you will understand the process more better. Okay, how it is happening, the replication, DNA replication and all. I'll come up with videos. Okay, so as I told before also, if you are finding any difficulty in any of the videos, you're not able to follow any part, let me know. If you need, I'll do the Zoom class. We'll have 1 or 2 sessions of the Zoom class, so that you can understand the points better. If you have any doubts, you have to feel free to ask. Okay, so as far as I can, I'll also help you out. We all are going through a very tough time, so we can cooperate and find a solution, so that you can understand the best. Okay, right. So synthesis of proteins and enzymes, it should carry the information for the formation of these proteins and enzymes. Next is stability. It should have physical and chemical stability so that the stored information is not lost. Next is variability. It should undergo gradual modifications during mutations or recombinations, and the variation that occurs during meiotic divisions. So this variation should occur in a proper way. Alright, so that the new characters can be will produce different features or characteristics, diverse characteristics will be shown. Alright, so these were the different features of genetic material. So after several experiments, as I told, they came to a conclusion that DNA is the genetic material. Okay, so this conclusion, how they came into that, what were the different experiments, that we in detail we don't have to know, but how they which experiments proved that DNA is the genetic material, that you have to know. Some of the experiments, there were several experiments, some of which are considered as the apt ones, which explained this theory that the DNA is the genetic material. So in your syllabus you have only the experiment by Hershey and Chase. Okay, that is an important experiment. Yes, it is an important experiment, but Griffith's experiment is you should know Griffith's experiment also, because if at all you go for higher studies taking this subject, you will know how important Griffith's experiment is also. So even in higher classes, higher educations, Griffith's experiment plays a very important role. Okay, so that is why I am giving a brief about Griffith's experiment also. So in Griffith's experiment, it was conducted by a bacteriologist named Frederick Griffith. His name was Frederick Griffith. He worked with pneumonia causing bacteria, that is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay, with Streptococcus pneumoniae, he found that since he was studying this bacteria, he found that there were two strains of this particular bacteria. So which were the two strains? Smooth virulent strain and rough avirulent strain. So smooth virulent strain is the one that causes bacteria. Rough virulent strain, that does not produce any symptoms of pneumonia, it does not cause the disease in the person because it lacks some substance. So what is that substance? So this virulent, smooth virulent strain, these are virulent because the cells are enclosed in a polysaccharide capsule which protects it from being engulfed by the WBCs. So if you remember, we had studied about the immunology, we had seen that the WBCs help in defense mechanism. So when any pathogen enters, it engulfs the microorganisms or the pathogen. So here, since it is encapsulated within a enclosed within a capsule, that is why the WBC is not able to engulf it. The phagocytosis does not occur here. Okay, so that is why this is protected. Whereas in rough avirulent strain, what happens? This particular capsule is absent. So naturally, what will happen? The WBCs will be able to attack on these strain and will be destroyed. That is why this strain is not does not cause any symptoms in the person. Okay, so what was the experiment that he conducted? So he conducted experiment on mice. So he took different mouse to see the results. So first, naturally, he injected both these, the direct smooth virulent strain and the rough avirulent strain. Smooth virulent strain caused the symptoms. It induced pneumonia in the mouse and gradually the mouse died. Rough avirulent strain did not cause any symptom since it was non-virulent and the mouse was healthy. Okay, so here you can see the capsule that is present. Okay, this was the one R strain. So symbols are also given S3 and R2. Okay, so the normal process is understood. Smooth when it is injected, the mouse dies, and the rough when it is injected, mouse survives. Now what he did, next two you have to listen carefully. S3 strain he took, but now this particular strain he heated it and killed the, so after a certain temperature the bacteria will not survive. So when he heated it at a high temperature and made sure that the bacteria is killed, and then heat killed bacteria he injected into the mouse. Okay, in this case what happened, again mouse did not show any symptoms, all right, in contrast to the actual smooth strain. Okay, so here the mouse survived, there was no symptoms of pneumonia, the mouse survived and was healthy. Okay, now next what he did, he took this heat killed S strain, that is smooth strain, mixed it with the R strain. So R strain is avirulent, we know, and S strain is heat killed. Okay, so what we would expect, because both heat killed S strain and R2 strain, they both do not cause any symptoms, so we would expect a result that it should not cause the mouse to die. But here what happened, the mouse died, the mouse could not, the mouse showed the symptoms of pneumonia and the mouse died. What was the reason? All right, so here we had seen that it is a mixture of the live encapsulated S3 bacteria. When sample was extracted from the mouse which died, last sample, they found that the mouse had mixture of live encapsulated bacteria and the non-capsulated form. So that means heat killed strain was inserted, but something made it active again. Okay, so in the bacteria that was sample that was extracted from the mouse, they found this. So what was the why this was formed? Now Griffith concluded that the S3 bacteria, which was heat killed, have introduced some transforming principle that has caused the transformation of some R2 bacteria into virulent. So R2 is avirulent, but the heat killed S3 bacteria, it had something in it which, bacteria is dead. Okay, bacteria is dead, but something was transferred to the R strain which made the R strain virulent. Now he that those days it was not the DNA, or in detail they did not make the study, so he told that it could be something that is present in the heat killed S bacteria. Okay, so later when they again conducted the experiments, they came to a conclusion that it is the DNA, right? So that was the Griffith's experiment. So how he told that the genetic material that is present inside the cell, the DNA that is present inside the cell, is producing the virulent strain in R2. Okay, so there's one more called Avery, McCartney and all. They conducted the same experiment in laboratory conditions to see how they the mixture of these two, that is heat killed smooth virulent strain and rough non-virulent strain, the mixture, how it was transformed to a virulent strain. Okay, that they found out that the DNA was transformed into the R strain. Alright, so this is about Griffith's experiment. Now we'll see Hershey-Chase experiment. What was the experiment done by Hershey and Chase? So Hershey-Chase experiment, there were two scientists, Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase. They conducted the experiments with bacteriophage. You all are familiar with what is bacteriophage. It is a virus that attacks the bacteria. So this bacteriophage, they studied these bacteriophage, that is T2 phages, specifically T2 phage they are called, which attack the bacteria. So what happened? These there were two types of bacteriophage they had taken. One was where the protein coat is labeled. Protein coat is labeled with radioactive sulfur. Okay, they had coated the protein with the radioactive sulfur. DNA is not coated here. Okay, another one, next strain of bacteriophage, where they label the DNA with radioactive phosphorus. Okay, some phages where the protein was radioactive sulfur and radioactive phosphorus to the DNA. So when radioactive sulfur is introduced into the protein coat, what happens is sulfur incorporates to form the amino acids cysteine and methionine. That is why, so it helps in binding with the protein. Okay, the phages that grow will have radioactive sulfur containing this protein coat. Now the phosphorus, we know that phosphorus is a phosphate is present in DNA. So this radioactive phosphorus will be incorporated into the DNA, and when this bacteria, when it grows in the culture, the bacteriophage will give the DNA will have radioactive characteristic. So okay, only the DNA will be radioactive here. All right. So next stage, so this is the first generation. Next generation, that is after this, when the replication took place, they saw that the one where the protein coat was incorporated with radioactive sulfur, that did not show any radioactive, no radioactivity was detected. Okay, here you can see. So protein, since we know that now we are aware that the DNA is introduced into the cell. So after next generation, there won't be any radioactivity. All right. They expected that this would show radioactivity, but this did not show any radioactivity. Instead, the DNA which was incorporated with radioactive phosphorus, in those cells, the DNA was introduced into the bacterial cell, and this showed radioactivity. So which concluded that the DNA is the one that is transferred from one generation to another. So next, after this was cultured, next generation, if they saw that the bacteriophages that came out, yes, after replication, the bacteriophages in the protein coat labeled did not show any radioactivity, whereas the one here, the cells showed radioactivity. Okay, here only the protein coat showed, but whereas the DNA did not have, so there was no radioactivity. Here, since the DNA was incorporated with radioactive sulfur, that is why they showed in the cells. Okay, so the radioactivity that was detected in the cells of these two cultures, that helped in the study, that gave a conclusion that DNA is the heredity material. Okay, so how it was done, infection, by blending, all those you need not know. Just know that the after infection, since DNA is the one that is inserted into the cell, the protein, we know the protein coat just remains outside, DNA enters the cell, yes or no? So since DNA was incorporated with radioactive phosphorus, that showed the radioactivity in the cells. Okay, when the cells were studied, after isolating the cells showed the radioactive property. All right, so that was about the DNA as genetic material. The experiments, two experiments, one is Griffith's experiment, the other is Hershey-Chase experiment. Okay, so Hershey-Chase experiment is important for your syllabus point of view, but Griffith's experiment is very important. It is a very common experiment explained in every time you study about DNA. Okay, So nucleic acids. So there are two types of nucleic acids. Alright, RNA and DNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid. So the difference is the presence of the sugar that is present. So in DNA we have deoxyribose as the pentose sugar. RNA we have ribose sugar, ribose pentose. Okay, it's a pentose sugar. Pentose means it has 5 the carbon chain. It has 5 carbons. So that is why pentose sugar. So DNA is also has a deoxyribose is a pentose sugar. Ribose is another pentose sugar. So the presence or absence of the oxygen, deoxy, oxygen is absent. So that detail you need not know now. You have to know how these, what are the main constituents or main backbone structures of the nucleic acids. Okay, so there is something called nucleosides. What are nucleosides and what are nucleotides? You have to know this. Nucleoside is the sugar plus nitrogenous base. So nitrogenous bases that are present in DNA are ATGC, adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine, AGTC. Okay, sugar, as I told, in DNA will be deoxyribose and RNA it is ribose. Alright, RNA, coming to the nitrogenous base, A is present, that is adenine is present, guanine is present and cytosine is present. Now what, instead of thymine they have uracil, U. Okay, instead of T they have U. So when we study about the codons and all, we will be studying that how this plays a important role. Alright, so that is nucleoside. Sugar plus nitrogenous base is nucleoside. Now what is nucleotide? Nucleotide, if I tell, it is nucleoside plus phosphate. So what is nucleoside? Sugar and nitrogen base. Yes, and plus phosphate. This makes the nucleotide. So nucleotide is the units of these nucleic acids. Okay, so DNA, if you are ever asked what are the units of DNA, that is nucleic acids. So nucleotides. Okay, what are the units of nucleic acids? It is nucleotides. Okay, so several nucleotides. So this is one nucleotide. Phosphate is here, sugar is here and the nitrogenous base. So this one whole thing is one nucleotide. Next nucleotide. So there is a chain of nucleotides which is called polynucleotide chain. Okay, in a DNA it is coil structure. There are several millions and millions of nucleotides joined together. They form a chain. Okay, if you see, you might have seen the coil structure of a chromosome. Yes, so that itself shows the polynucleotide structure. Alright, yeah. So what are the differences between DNA and RNA? It is given in brief. I'll explain. DNA is the genetic material. RNA mostly functions as messenger and adapter. Okay, in mostly eukaryotic system, the RNA helps in the as a messenger and adapter, that is messenger RNA or transfer RNA. They help in the taking of these messages from the DNA to helps in the for protein synthesis. Okay, thymine is present there, uracil is present instead of thymine. Here one main difference you will see is it is DNA is more stable and RNA is less stable. Why? Because the DNA, the two strands are joined with the hydrogen bond. Yes, so the two strands get separated when on heating. These hydrogen bonds break and then after cooling they again join. So because of the presence of thymine, this stability is seen. Okay, in detail you don't have to know now. The presence of thymine makes it more stable, whereas the presence of uracil in RNA instead of thymine makes the RNA more labile, that is less stable. Alright, but we'll see, because it is less stable, RNA is more reactive. Okay, lesser stable the structures are, more reactive they are. Yes, so it has its own functions. So it is more reactive and less stable. Here it is more stable. DNA is more stable. DNA mutates slowly and RNA mutates faster. So mutation occurs in both. However, the RNA, they can mutate faster. We find that different viruses, they have RNA inside them. Yes. So even the most common nowadays, that is coronavirus, also you might have seen there are mutants forming. So that means what? The RNA is mutating and forming different strains. Different strains of coronavirus is forming. That is why it is spreading in such a way, and it is causing a huge challenge for the people working with these viruses. So once they find the solution for this, now we see that there are mutants of that. Again, you have to find a solution for that mutant. Okay, so that is why it is taking time. Also, they are finding a common medicine which could help in the treatment of all these mutant forms. Okay, there are several mutants that form. So RNA, they can mutate faster. DNA, the mutation is slow. Okay, and also it is also lifespan is shorter in RNA because of the mutation, because it can mutate fast. Okay, now DNA depends on RNA to transfer the message from nucleus into cytoplasm. We know the DNA is present within the nucleus. Okay, so this has to go to reach the ribosomes for protein synthesis. So this is done by RNA. Okay, so RNA can code for synthesis of protein directly. Okay, so mRNA, it helps in the carries the message to the ribosomes for protein synthesis. Okay, so this is one more difference. There are many more differences. These are some of the main differences you have to know.